gonna save you in the end. A God above, He's going to take you in the end. And then your soul will transcend. And when you die, your spirit will fly. And then you'll no longer cry. There's a force called love. It's going to save you in the end. And when you die, you know heaven will be waiting for you. It's true. They'll all be there waiting for you. They're all part of you. But when you die, your spirit will fly. And then you'll no longer cry. There's a force called love. It's gonna save you in the end. Da, da, da. You know they're all gonna be waiting there for you. It's true. They're all there waiting for you. 'Cause they're all part of you. But when you die, your spirit will fly. And then you'll no longer cry. There's a force called love. It's going to save you in the end. Hello there. Welcome to the Shaun Taylor Show. Hope you like that. That's my new song that was at the start of this talk, this meditation, whatever you want to see it as. And a talk is a meditation. Anytime you talk, it's meditating you. But this talk is called Realities or Vortexes. And there's people that talk about this, about you're going into the vortex, but they don't go into details of what a vortex is. A vortex is a bunch of vibrational frequencies that produce a vortex, which is merely an energy field but produced by different frequencies that relate to each other. And this is always going on. And if everything is a vortex, if you do something, eat something, think something, you notice something else always follows. And then you get sucked into something. That's because it's a vortex you just went into. Now it doesn't matter if you're a Donald Trump supporter, if you're a Biden supporter, if you're a Q supporter, if you even if you're with Source itself is a vortex. But you could say that is the source vortex, so that's different. But it's all vortexes. A life form is a vortex. A troll is into a vortex state of awareness. When you start having a spiritual awakening, like I had an unexpected spiritual awakening just under 10 years ago. And in that spiritual awakening, I started to go through an energetic shift. People call it a chakra alignment, awakening. And what I discovered was that the chakras are merely vortexes, sucking you into the source. Like David Icke says, it's like being plugged into the mains, because he had a spiritual awakening himself. And that's how it changed the course of his life. But realities are, and that itself, whoever you like. I mean, I like Tony Robbins, I like David Icke. These are all people that I came across on my journey. Deepak Chopra, the great ones. And those are people who are not on the same path, but on a very similar journey. And so I like to listen to them because obviously I'm still quite new. I've been on this path for 10 years now. But it's always good to get a different perspective. But if you think about the trolls in their vortex, in their consciousness, which is their vortex that they're into, or the leftists, or which the trolls are basically very similar. A lot of them are leftists as well, but they're very similar kind of personalities. The vortex they're into is a dark vortex. It's a vortex of hatred. It's a vortex. The trolls have always existed. Not in the form of internet trolls, but I mean, before the internet, like say this was 1970s. You had people that hated people, and they were just sad, and they would be jealous. You've always had people like this. So that's all the trolls are. But they're like that because they're sucked into a certain vortex. It's the same with people that are in a negative vortex just now. That are believing in. If this is going on YouTube, I'm not even allowed to say anything against COVID-19. Now, the people that decide this are leftists. Leftists believe that they are right and any other opposite viewpoint is wrong, but that's again, this is related to a type of vortex that they're into. And the vortex is a more darker vortex, and it's sucking them in and making them feel bad and making them feel all the horrible low vibrational emotions and making them think this way. And I believe that the system at the top knows this, and what it does is I believe that it uses our lack of understanding of reality about vortexes and all this stuff to control us. That's just my theory on it. But I can't even go even further than that. That's how much of a dark vortex the YouTube is in, the Google, the Facebooks. And I watched a court case with him about a few months ago, and there was a court case with Facebook, YouTube, and they were all getting attacked by these leftists, telling, oh, you must ban this. So it's not them themselves, but it's the leftists. But this relates to these vortexes. As whoever's dictating things at the top, even if you look at a government, if you look at a politician in a government party, they answer to different people in the party, and the people have connections, and it all goes up, call it a pyramid if you want, and you realise that they have connections, and it all goes up to the people at the top, who are manipulated by a vortex. See, people think it's a demon. Well, no, it's just a vortex. Right? Now, some scientists say that vortexes even are different timelines. But they're actually, everything is electrical, energetic, and emotional also. That's why different vortexes put you into a different emotional state. But like that song at the start of this, you got to think, that song that that's a new song that I wrote at the start of this talk. Remember, we've all got to die, and so many people have said that and I'm not doing this to scare anyone, just trying to enlighten everyone. I had a spiritual awakening, and it changed me, right? And people have had near-death experiences, and they say something very similar. We've all got to die, right? And your choices that you make will determine what happens when you die, because your body dies, like in that song I wrote, and you got to leave. And whatever vortexes you've embarked on this planet, which is a choice, will determine what happens to you when you're a spirit. And many near-death experiencers say that when they died, they went through life review, and that is when a spiritual advisor from the other side, more evolved than you are, decides where you end up. And if you don't do well enough, if you're like going with the dark side, you just get sent straight back into this vortex, which is, planet Earth is merely the Matrix. The Matrix, for anyone who doesn't understand what the Matrix is, the Matrix is a bunch of vortexes, negative vortexes, that are designed to, it's like a vortex maze, basically, pulling you into all these different negative vortexes to put you in a very low vibrational state. Now, the heart vortex is the vortex of the source. You see? See, what happens when you get trolls on the internet? They're in a negative vortex, and they don't even know if what they're saying is true or if it's not true. Now, so deep down, they know it's wrong what they're doing, but because of the vortexes are very powerful. They suck you in, and it's not impossible. You can get out of it, but it takes a lot of work. I go into great detail, especially in this talk, about vortexes. That's because I had my own unexpected spiritual awakening, which I didn't ask for, didn't know anything about it, and on this path it's been about vortexes. And understanding about this, and so that's how I'm able to go into detail about what a vortex is. Many people say, oh, you're going into the vortex, but they don't go into detail about what it is. Everything is vortexes, and you'll notice whenever you do something or think something or eat something, it leads you to something else because you're entering a vortex there. The way to the best way to work with them is to be present. When you're present and you practice presence meditation, you're able to observe all the vortexes in a very slow, calm way, so you're able to make a better choice. So the chances are, in that state, a negative vortex won't pull you in. It can only pull you in when you're not in presence. That's why they're always trying to they don't want you being in the present moment. And that's just it. But like I was saying earlier about the leftists and that, and the trolls, these people are very similar in their vibration. They're in this very similar vortex. And it's like YouTube banned one of my talks lately about 5G. And they showed me a load of stuff I'm not allowed to say. Now, it's so childish. Didn't soldiers die for freedom? But these people are in hate. My dad said to me a while ago, he said, "Oh, hate's stronger than love." Well, no, it's not. It's only powerful. No, he said more powerful than love, and it's only powerful for the system, because the system can use hate, and what hate does is it divides us. Like if you look at the trolls, or the leftists as well, what are they creating? They're creating division. That's what hate does. Love unites us, and that's why they don't want us to be in a state of joy, happiness, love. Because that is, when we do those things, that we have the ability, all humans have the ability to love, and that transcends you and ascends you into higher dimensions. That's why but hate is a tool that they're losers, but they use hate to stop that. So love is the power that empowers you. And that is the vortex of the source. Remember, even hate, all things come from source. Everything comes from a source of all life. I was watching Eckhart Tolle yesterday, and he was talking about Jesus and stuff that you don't even hear the religious people talk about Jesus. He's obviously very educated about Jesus Christ. And he said that some of Jesus Christ's teachings were very Buddhist orientated. But I guess that's another vortex that Eckhart Tolle's in. He talks about presence a lot, but he had a spiritual awakening himself. That's another guy that I came across on the internet, because someone told me a few years ago that I sounded like Eckhart Tolle as well. I've been told I sound like David Icke, and I didn't know any of these people at the start. I didn't know anything about spiritual awakening. My awakening was completely unexpected, and I've had a lot of stick for it. I've had a lot of, my family especially, because obviously I'm the only one in my family, my surroundings, that my mum and dad didn't have a spiritual awakening. Didn't know what it was till I started talking about it. And but I've had a lot of I've had positive feedback as well, but it hasn't been easy. But I'm certainly not gonna give up on this path, because this path is actually, I was very depressed before this path. Before I entered this awakening vortex, I was miserable, and so I ain't gonna go away from this. I don't care what my family think. I don't care if they like it, hate it. I ain't going to end up miserable. I ain't going to go back to the way I was. And now, because of this spiritual awakening, unexpected, I don't take drugs anymore, don't drink alcohol, because I entered a different type of vortex, which is the heart. So like I said earlier, my dad's saying hate is powerful in love. Well, I know that ain't true, because I used to hate. Hate made me feel all different kinds of negative emotions, and it just made me want to kill myself. That's only powerful for the system, but what is the real power is what empowers all of us together, and that ultimately empowers the planet. So that's the real power, is what empowers everyone else. So all power starts from self-empowerment, and that starts when you go within your heart. and that's the source vortex. So you want to practice presence, and when you practice presence, which is the heart center, you enter the source vortex. And then when you get, like when I get trolls, I don't get many. I had one this morning. I just blocked him, but he's a guy that he followed me on Twitter, he followed me on Instagram, followed me on YouTube. I mean, I don't see the point in that. Why? There's a doctor I watch called Dr. Rashid Battar, and medical doctor, and he says on YouTube, he says, why would you follow someone that you don't agree with? But that's the vortex, a negative vortex that these trolls are into. Just, there's a thing called the Montauk Project in America, and that was when they done time travel experiments. Now this was a real thing. The Philadelphia experiment was a real thing in the 1930s, or late 1930s or early 40s. And they spoke about vortexes, but they spoke about in time travel, because the only place you hear about this is in time travel movies, science fiction. But it's real. And I'm not saying it's not time zones, because I'm not a scientist. I'm talking about vortexes from my own spiritual awakening. I didn't know anything, like I said, I didn't know anything about this kind of thing. My mum and dad didn't know anything about it because they've never had a spiritual awakening. My mum's a psychic and done palmistry, was on TV for palmistry and done transfiguration, mediumship, all different kind of stuff like that. But spiritual awakening was completely new to her. And now, every day I've got a certain diet that I'm on now. I take supplements, vitamins, stinging nettle tea, manuka honey. Completely changed my path because I entered the heart vortex, as I say. But if you're a troll out there, I would just say to the trolls, just before I end this vortex, this negative vortex that you're in, I know because I've been there. I wasn't a troll, but I've been in a negative state where I was suicidal. Think, how do you feel when you're like that? Is it empowering your day? Does it make your day better? Or does it make your day worse? Because at the end of the day, we've only got so long in this life. We all have, right? So that's why the main objective is to be happy. So you're not going to make yourself happy whilst you're letting externals or what I say trigger you. You're only going to become happy once you start to acknowledge that negative vortex within, and that's when you'll heal it. And that is the solution. Ask yourself, are you happy? Because and when you're your happiest, then you can be an inspiration to other people. You can't be that inspiration whilst you're in this trolling, angry, hateful state. But maybe what I say won't help, because they do say that haters hate. But I would urge people to do what I done, because I used to hate. And I had enough one day, and that's when the spiritual awakening manifested itself. And I entered the heart vortex, which is in science now. It's scientifically proven that heart-based living can heal your entire body. That's it. So, because when you enter the heart, you enter a tiny space in the heart when you're based in that. And that is the source, which is just infinite love. And that is the source vortex, the power supply of all life. And I'm just going to leave it there. For latest updates and talks and news and research, please do visit my website at www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you.